If you like this podcast or the previous ones, please consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Frankie'sPod. It just goes to help fund the software and the hosting. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. Tonight I'm joined by, you know what? It's the first one. Is it? Yes, I think it is. It's the first lad from the Navy that's been on the podcast. No, tell a lie. Right, technically you are, because the other guy joined the Navy but went to the area. Sorry, joined the Army and went to the Navy. Different. He was a pilot. Didn't count. Good guy, Tim Davies. So I'm talking to Peter Watt. Peter joined the Navy in 2003 and served all the way through to 2010, you told me earlier. Hey, Peter, how are you doing?
I'm spot on, mate. Just chilling out tonight. Looking forward to the the League Cup final on the weekend.
Oh, who's playing in that then?
I think Newcastle, Liverpool.
Don't know. I'm not a football fan, mate. To be honest. I might have noticed some flags flying around this place. Yeah, being
Well, I mean, it made you laugh last night. You know what I mean? Because we were cheering Liverpool players getting injured.
Right,
Trent Alexander's off. Hey, he's not playing in the final.
Well, as I mentioned before we started, just want to say thank you for coming on and doing this. Again, like I say to all my guests, is that if you didn't come on and do it or volunteer for it, I wouldn't be able to. To be fair, I put a post out on Facebook yesterday on the Final IV group, and Peter graciously agreed to do it today, which is brilliant. I hope that a few more people take his lead and come on it. So if we'll just start off with 5. Sorry, go on.
When I get this, what I'll do, I'm going to post. I run a Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club in Hebburn. There's the plug.
Yeah. No, we'll talk about that.
Straight away, the plug. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on a Facebook group.
No, we'll talk about that in depth in a bit. Because like I mentioned earlier before we started recording, I've been trying to get someone from one of the Armed Forces Breakfast Clubs to come on and talk about it and what. There'll be guys out there who don't know what they are, believe it or not. You know, they don't. You know, and you know, we'll get to that when we come to it. So if we start off at the beginning of the questions, so the questions are: where did you grow up? What was it like? Why did you join the military? What was it like? What made you leave? What have you done since? So if you just want to give us a bit of a background about yourself, like where you grew up and what led you to join the military in the end.
Unfortunately, I was born in South Shields because Jarrow Hospital had closed down by the time I was born. But I went to school in Newcastle, so I sort of brought up in the West End in Newcastle, and then came back to Jarrow when I left school, 16. And I've pretty much lived in Jarrow since leaving school.
I mean, I know Jarrow. It's been quite a while since I've been there. I mean, I've visited back with backwards and forwards, and it's only the other side of the river from where we're at, really. But I know Jarrow, not Jarrow.
Jarrow.
Yeah, well, I speak English, mate. That's why. I went AWOL for 7 months, and I was living in Jarrow. And I got caught.
Hiding in Jarrow. If you're AWOL, you're hiding in Jarrow. You're not living in Jarrow, you're hiding in Jarrow.
I was working in Fenham, mate. I was on an employment scheme. I got bored of being AWOL. I ended up signing on the dole. And they put me on an employment scheme.
YTS.
No, it wasn't YTS. It was like
ET then.
So yeah, some employment trend or something like that. This
was
when
I was a kid. I mean, Christ, when I left school, you got slapped on a YTS, youth training scheme.
Yeah,
and you got like £29.50 a week for doing it.
Something like that. It wasn't a YTS scheme. It was, I mean, I was a bit older.
Well, the ET was employment training. If you were too old for a YTS, you got ET employment training, and you got an extra tenner on top of your dole. So ET, we used to say, stands for extra tenner.
Basically, yeah. But one night I got a bit drunk and went off for a walk and got lost and couldn't remember where I lived or where I was staying at the time with the wife. because we got married while I was A1, and ended up walking down the metro lines because I knew they went around the back of the house. Beach Street was the street. So
that's up next to Jarrow. I mean, I don't know how long ago back you're going, like, but that's up next to Jarrow.
88, 89.
Yeah, the metro would have been there then, the Jarrow metro.
Yeah. So I climbed off the metro lines onto the station and to be met by a local Bobby who just went, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "I'm lost," and ended up getting nicked. And then went back to the army, did a bit of time, and carried on with my career, which was fun. So, I mean, what was it like growing up in Jarrow then? Because, I mean, I remember it not being the best of places, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I like the local history, and the problem with Jarrow is Jarrow for you. Whenever you mention Jarrow, the first thing people fucking mention is the Crusade, poverty, flat caps and fucking whippets. It's not like that. I've been to Glasgow. I've lived in Dunfermline. I've been down to Portsmouth. I've been to Plymouth. I've been all over the country and that. And it's the same as everywhere else. I mean, in 1936, when we did the Jarrow March, or Crusade, whichever way you want to call it, we got up and we did something about it. Not a lot of towns in Britain did that, but we did because Palmer's was closed down. And at the time, Palmer's employed about 95% of Jarrow. So when Palmer's shut down, that was 95% of the population out of work overnight like that. You had to do something, Ellen Wilkinson, who was the MP at the time, I've been trying to get a hold of this book so I can read it. Ellen Wilkinson, the MP, with the two flats, the big tall flats in Jarrow? You've got Monastery Court, Ellen Court, and Wilkinson Court. So the two top courts next to Jarrow Town Hall are named after her. And she wrote a book called The Town That Was Murdered. And that's what it's about. It's about that. It's about, and that's what it was. Was slaughtered. When Palmer's shipyard shut, the whole town was out of work overnight. There was no dole back then. You couldn't go to the job centre and sign on. Men starving. What you got to do? We had to do something, and we decided to march down to London. It did fuck all. We got out. You know what I mean? And now Jarrow is constantly linked to that level of poverty. It bugs the shit out of me. If you go back to 668 AD and the Venerable Bede, we were a seat of learning for the entire continent of Europe. The monastery down the road, they were sending Bibles to Rome for the Pope. We've got I don't know I can't remember what it was called. There's some book. One went to Rome to the Pope, one went to London, and one went to elsewhere else. It wasn't the Lindisfarne Gospels, I don't think. But I mean, that was wrote in Jarrow. I can't remember how you pronounce it. Ecclesiastical History of England. Everything we know in England about English in the medieval time comes from this monastery. And it's literally a 30-second walk from where I live. Why can't we be known for that? You've heard of a ship. I don't know if you've heard of this ship. In 1912, there was a ship in the North Atlantic, hit an iceberg and sunk. What was it called again? Titanic. That was it. Titanic. It hit an iceberg and sunk. Now, there was 3 ships in the Titanic class. You had the Olympic, the Britannic, and the Titanic. I think it was the Olympic that was torpedoed off the south coast of Ireland in the First World War. That sunk. We all know what happened to the Titanic. Iceberg sunk. And the last one, it might have been the Olympic. Actually, just across the road from me, I can see it from my kitchen window. The gates there is called the Jarrow Mercantile. That ship was actually brought there and dismantled, and it was identical to the Titanic, and it was brought up just across the road from me.
There's a big conspiracy theory about that, isn't there? That it was actually the Titanic that was brought back. And
well, one of them sunk, didn't it? Because it was the Titanic. A lot of people lost their lives on it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying away from that. I just know that I've seen that conspiracy theory many times where people are an insurance job and that. And, whatever.
It all stems. It was actually a Royal Navy ship that struck it. They were doing some sort of manoeuvres in I don't know if it was Southampton, but they were in harbour and they were doing some sort of test or something, and it was actually a Royal Navy ship that crashed into the side of the Britannic or the Olympic, and it had to go back to dock to get sorted out. There was only one dock that was big enough to take these ships at the time, so Titanic was moored up to one side, while they fixed the Olympic or vice versa. I can't remember which. And because of that, the sailing date of the Titanic was delayed. So by the time the Titanic got out into the North Atlantic, it was iceberg season. So it was the Royal Navy that sunk the Titanic, technically.
I mean, we asked. Well, sorry, I'll rephrase that. When we were talking just beforehand, you mentioned to me that you joined the military quite late. So what did you do from leaving school and up till that point, and what made you decide to join the military?
Basically, I just went job to job. I left school with no qualifications, no GCSEs or nothing, you know what I mean? So I just went from menial job to menial job, you know. There is a reason, and I'll tell you the reason why I didn't join the military late. Criminal record. I got no lot of, I mean, nothing serious. I mean, this is like shoplifting and drunken disorderly or drunken incapable, you know what I mean? I wasn't like, you know, like flashing little old grannies in the parks and, you know what I mean? Or you're chasing 14-year-old girls around or, you know, murdering people. Or, it was nothing bad. It was things like shoplifting. I mean, you know, you know, when you do a DBS and you get your criminal record, it lists all your convictions. And I'm reading my convictions and they all go side and side with me not turning up in court. So for every conviction I've got another conviction for not turning up in court for that sentence. You know what I mean? And getting arrested for that and all. So it was like shoplifting and stuff, you know, drunken and capable. I pinched a steamroller once when I was drunk. So I'm chugging along the road in a steamroller. That's why I went to become a matlow, you know what I mean? I was just crazy enough to be a matlow.
So what made you decide the Navy then against any of the others, or was it just...
I was a quick criminal.
So when you joined at the age of what, you said?
33, 34-ish.
Yeah, I mean...
I left in 2000. I'm 49 now. I was born in 76 and I left in 2010.
So, I mean, that would... Then, back then, you wouldn't have been able to join the military anyway, or join the army anyway. You'd have been too old.
Not the army, no. I was too old for the army. I wouldn't join the army anyway.
Let's not start that shit. Yeah, I think the age then was 27.
But
it's been raised since, because the Marines had it up to 35. I think it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the age is on now. Yeah. But I mean, I've got nothing against the army, you know what I mean? But I know somebody who's got a T-shirt. Nobody played Navy as a child. Well, guess what I played as a child? I did play Navy. I was obsessed with the water from a very young age. I mean, I'm going to nursery and infant school. I was obsessed with the Navy and being at sea. And, you know, for me, there was only one. So it's no disrespect to the army, you know, no disrespect to the Air Force, but there was only one thing I was ever going to join, and that was the Royal Navy.
So what was it like joining up then?
I left it too late. I hated it. Fucking hated it.
It's, I mean, I haven't got experience of, you know, basic training in the Navy, or even if that's what it's called in the Navy.
Yeah, basic training at Raleigh.
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen, you know, we've all seen the videos and the TV shows on, you know, like on Channel 4 and stuff like that, and it does seem very, you know, the discipline is very, very strict, you know, and people get binned for the smallest thing, and I mean, it seems to me that, I mean, it has to be like that because, you know, especially living on board ship, you can't have fucking...
It's not like that. Trust us. There is a degree, once you get into the fleet, there is a degree of what you had in basic training. But basic training is completely different to what happens in the fleet. So it is strict, obviously, it's a military organisation, but it's nothing like it was in the, you know, you haven't got somebody coming around measuring you because you had to fold your pants or your shirt into A4 and stuff. You know, you don't have to do that when you're on board ship. You've got your locker. If you want to jam everything into your locker as tight as it'll go, that's up to you.
So, I mean, what was training like for you in the respect of you being a lot older? And, I mean, you obviously, like you alluded to earlier, you were a bit of a scally before you joined. The discipline side of training, so, you know, the ratings coming in and telling you what to do and stuff like that. I mean, I don't even know what the ranks are in the Navy. I know, like, able seaman. after that, I've got no idea.
You've got
You know, really.
AB, leading hand. Well, AB is actually equivalent of an A private. Leading hand, which could be like a corporal, petty officer, sergeant, chief petty officer, staff sergeant. I think the warrant officers are the same for the Air Force, the Navy, and the Army. They're all the same, the warrant officers. Then you've got sub-lieutenant, lieutenant, lieutenant commander, commander, captain, commodore, rear admiral, admiral of the fleet.
It's a mouthful, isn't it? So let us know,
You know, the
what
best
was
thing
it
is,
like?
I remember it all from a secret. I had a bit of a head start at basic training because I had to tie knots and I knew the ranks and I knew this, that, and the other. You know, I was quite, because of being an ex-secret, I was quite clued up on it all to start off with.
So how did you find the discipline side of it? Did you react to it, or did you just take it on the chin?
Well, there was a couple of times I came close to chinning people, you know, which is not the best thing to do in a military organisation. You know, but I came close to chinning one PTI, but I mean, let's face it, who fucking hasn't came close to chinning a PTI? But I had to get held back by a shipmate because I was ready to knock out this PTI, and then I got dragged up in front of the man for that one.
So how long was training for you?
9 weeks basic, and then you go on to your specialisation. I was C branch, tying knots and stuff. Deckhand.
I was going to say it. You know, do you want to explain about the different aspects of that? Because I mean, like I told you before, I lived in Gosport, and we lived right next door to Nelson, places like that. And what was that? What's the Submariner one?
Sultan.
Yeah, and we used to bump into them coming out of engineer training and stuff like that downtown, and they were getting paid twice as much money as us. Yeah, no fuckers.
Do you know what it is? The chances are the engineers are getting paid twice as much as us.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a specialisation, you know what I mean?
Oh no, they were coming out. I mean, they were like fucking 18, 19-year-old, and we were talking to them in a pub down in Gosport, and I can't remember the name of the pub now. All the nurses from Astley used to go there. They'd be telling us how much we're getting paid. I mean, we mates are like, fucking, you know what I mean?
I spent a lot of time with excrement. We like to call it HMS excrement. And I used to go to the pub to stay up. It was a right rough fucking place. Like, I used to drink Abbott's ale and get absolutely pissed on Abbott's ale. And it was under a flyover. It was like a roundabout above it, a roundabout flyover at the top. What was it called? I think it was called the Drake. 5-minute walk from HMS Excellent.
Yeah, you enjoyed that then?
I used to enjoy sitting in there.
So what was it like when you saw your trade training? As you said, you called yourself a decade. So that was just like sea hands or what? I mean,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
You know, how to move on ships and stuff and things like that. You know, we were like we were what you would think of as the Navy, as your Nelsonian Navy. It's all deck work, rope work, blocks and splices and this, that and the other. It's what a civilian would think of Royal Navy. When the fact of the matter is you only fucking learn 4 knots in the Navy now.
Granny knot, bow.
Reef knot, bowling. I can't remember the 4 of them now. I mean, you don't use them. A modern Navy doesn't use them because it's already done. You know, you get a bit of rope that's already spliced. You know what I mean? You do learn splicing, you do learn bits and bobs like that. I mean, I learned most of it in the secrets anyway. You know, but you don't use a lot of it now. A lot of the rope work and rigging, you don't need it on a modern warship. You need your marine engineers. You don't need somebody who can stitch a sail. You know what I mean? You need somebody who can fix an engine.
I was going to say, if the engine goes down, you might need someone to fix a fucking sail.
Aye. Hey, it's been done before, I believe.
I'm not surprised. So what was it like turning up on your first ship then?
I ended up seconded into a fleet protection group on the RFA ships. So my first ship, my only ship actually, I did a couple of destroyers and that, a frigate. And that was just weeks here, weeks there. And Cardigan Bay out in Iraq, but I fucking hated it. As soon as I got back to Blighty, I left.
Why?
Just didn't like it. Just didn't. Do you know what it is? If there's anybody watching this podcast and you're young, you've just left school, do it. Do it now when you're young. Because the older you get, the harder it gets. Not the physical side of it, not the running and stuff. It's the bullshit.
I kind of get that, but I mean that's down to individuals as well, really. as I got older, I found that there was less bullshit really compared to when I first joined. There was a lot less. There was a lot less of it. There was still bullshit where there was just for bullshit's sake. You know what I mean? There was lots of painting grass green and stuff like that. We're used to that stuff. And us older guys, I mean, like I said, I did 27 years. It was just part and parcel. The people did it years ago. You'll do it now. And again, some of it, you're right. A lot of it's bollocks, and some of it is just there to fill people's time. And there's a lot of vulnerability because there's a lot of waiting around, or there's a lot of get on the bus, off the bus. I don't know if it's like that in the Navy, but in the Army, definitely is. Yeah, going on the ranges.
Once I decided I wasn't going to make a good career from crime, I wasn't going to retire to Buenos Aires, pinching a packet of Maltesers from, or a handful of pick and mix from Woolworths at the time. You know what I mean? When I realised I wasn't going to make a living from this, I moved on and I went from job to job. This, that, and the other, and sort of like fell into politics. So I got interested in politics. I joined UKIP at the time.
Right.
Because I'm not anti-European. I was anti-EU at the time. I've been in the Green Party. I don't believe in left or right. The Tories are the right and the Labour Party is the left and this, that, and the other. I don't believe in that bollocks. I believe in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do politics myself. I'd say I'm a centralist, but I don't see that much of a difference between the left and right anymore. And
there's not. There's cigarette paper between them.
But I mean, what we would have called the right before, everyone's going, "Oh, they're the far right." No, they're not. There's no such thing as a far right. It's just a label that people are putting on them because they don't agree with the centralists.
They don't like what they're saying. It's like a lot of people say, "Oh, if you're in an argument and you start calling people Adolf Hitler and the Nazis and that, you've lost the argument already." Fuck off! No, you haven't. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Hitler was we all know what Hitler was. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but I mean that's not even anywhere close to what they're on about. I mean, going back to your time in the Navy, then you told me earlier that you'd served with like Royal Marines at Fast Lane and stuff like that. What was all that about?
I don't know if you're aware, but the Royal Fleet Auxiliary is civilian manned. It's technically merchant navy. The gist that I got is that after the USS Cole got bombed, did you hear about that? When Al Qaeda drove a speedboat into the side of the USS Cole, killed 6 American sailors, put the ship on top of a ship to bring it back to America to fix it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, and the Admiralty realised that the RFA ships they've got no protection like a destroyer, a frigate, a carrier, a submarine. They've got no protection at all. And they said, "Oh, we're going to put a bunch of Marines on board the ships with guns." And the RFA freaked and said, "If you put Marines on board our ships, we'll go on strike." Because of the civilians, they could have done that. If the RFA had went on strike, the Navy would have been stuck in port. Because, if the Royal Navy needs a beer, the RFA, bring it to her. You know what I mean?
I bumped into the RFA once. We ended up on one of their ships in Split in Croatia. Our lads were doing a charity thing, and we were going around with buckets collecting money off people. And we went onto this RFA ship in Split and said, "Come on, give us some money." And they fucking loved us. They took us straight up to the mess. And we were like, "We're not supposed to drink or anything." "Oh, no, have a problem here." We ended up in the fucking captain's cabin, room, whatever you want to call it. He was giving us beer and money and stuff. We come off there pissed as farts. It was great. We were late, but we come off there fucking. Well, like you said, they were great. They were friendly. They were intrigued and really interested in what we were doing and who we were, because they didn't get to see a lot of other arms or services type of thing. I mean, you're right about the fleet. It's like our RLC. You need every part of the organisation to work for the smallest bit to go wrong. Like you said, them going on strike, we'd be fucked. I mean, the size of the Navy to the back in the day, to the size of the Navy now, it's just fucking ridiculous. We haven't even got a Navy.
But I was watching a documentary on Nelson's time, and we had 136 ships of the line back in Nelson's day. You know, and now what we got? Nout.
Basically.
Just when the Russian base starting to roar again.
Yeah. You know, I mean, let's not go into that one too much. So, I mean, when I've spoken to lots and lots of guys who've left the military, and the transition from military into civilian street was, for some of them, it was easy. You know, they'd planned for it all, you know, for many, many years, and they knew what they were going to do. They had places to live, and they had jobs lined up, and this, that, and the other. But again, for the majority of the guys I've spoken to, you know, if they were coming to the end of their time with like their 22-year service, whatever, you know, it wasn't too bad. But a lot of lads leave more or less on the spur of the moment to sign off. You know, in the army, it's 12 months' notice. You know, or unless you can PVR and get out on PVR, get an early release. Is that the same in the Navy? You've got to give 12 months' notice. Or?
Not for me. I left. Contract was up because the Tories had just got into power, and the first thing that they started doing was a strategic defence review, which we know is political speak for cuts. So I had a chat. I said, "Yeah." I said, "This is going to happen anyway." I said, "Just let me fucking go. I want out." I did want out because I couldn't have stayed in the forces much longer. I would have shot one of my own.
It's a bit extreme, but I know what you mean.
I was fed up with it. I was fed up with it. I had no problem back in Civvy Street. Not a problem at all. Loved it. I was glad to be back.
I mean, you must have got, you must have been thankful for the Navy that you got to see lots of places, or
nah, not really.
No,
Nah. I didn't enjoy my time.
that's a shame. That's really a shame.
I left it far too late in life. I did. I left it far too late in life, and I joined during the middle of a massive conflict. You know, where everybody was just going to Iraq, and that was it. Or Afghanistan, that area. You know what I mean? We weren't doing much else around the world because everything was happening in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know, just after I left, I do believe that Mima Salma, the port in Bahrain, has become the first overseas military base since the Second World War. So after I'd left, this is how busy it was over there for us. The British turned to the Bahrainian government and said, "Give us this port." So it was the creation of the first overseas base since the Second World War for the British.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Mima Salma.
I'll have a look at that after this. So, getting back into Civvy Street, then you said you didn't really have a problem. What did you end up doing then? Did you get a resettlement package from the Navy?
I wanted to leave, so I had somewhere to go. You know, I didn't need any. I didn't want anything. I didn't ask for anything. I went back to my ma's. I was in my ma's spare bedroom.
That's a bit of a step back, though, isn't it? I'd have found that a bit of a step back, really, to be honest.
It was only temporary. I mean, get me washing done.
You would get your washing done, fair enough. So you were relieved to be back in civilian clothes.
Yeah, like I say, I left it far too late in life. I really did. I'd have probably did 22. I'd have probably asked at 22 years to say, can I sign up for another 10? If I'd have joined at 16, 17, I left it far too late. I was 33, 34, 35 or something at the time. I'm 49 now. You know what I mean? I'm 49, so I must have been 38, 39 when I left. 39-year-old, you know what I mean? You should be leaving as a chief petty officer or a warrant officer first class or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I went in as an officer, I'd have probably been leaving as a commander or something, you know, a captain or something like that, you know what I mean? I went in as an AB and I fucking left as an AB.
There's no wrong with that.
I didn't want to get promoted. I was quite happy at the bottom of the pile.
I was a gunner till, Christ, how long? I joined 85 and I got promoted in 95, so I was a 10-year gunner.
I didn't even have school then, one mate.
Cheers, mate. I'm not that much fucking older, Christ.
I was in 85, I think I was still an infant, mate.
Fuck off. Just because you've got hair and I haven't. So what did you do then? You know, you mentioned you went into security.
That's what I did. I pretty much did security since leaving the forces. Tell you what, I don't know. You'll fucking love this one. I hated the job though. I left. Civil enforcement officer, traffic warden over North Tyneside.
Yeah, fucking hell, yeah. Stay away.
Do you know what it is, mate? I was too nice for it. I was too nice for it.
It's a job that somebody's got to do, and to be fair, I think I'd quite enjoy it. My sadistic side, I think I'd quite enjoy it. But I don't. I'd be fair. But I would quite enjoy it because I do. Even when I see someone parking on a double yellows now, I'm like, that fucking park there for. You know,
And then, and you know the best thing is, though, they then complain they get a fucking ticket. You parked on double yellow lines, pal. You know what I mean? You've passed your driving test. You've did the highway code. And you parked on double yellow lines. Well, there's a fucking ticket.
You must have had some scrapes with that one.
No, not really. I mean, I look quite psychotic anyway. I'm not. I'm a pussycat, but I look quite psychotic, and I've got this 1,000-yard stare where I just eyeball people, and you probably just think I'm going to cut your throat open with a knife, and I'm not. I'm just lost in a little world of my own, you know. So I think people sort of look at us and go, "Oh, I'm not going to start with him," and so I didn't get much grief at all. You do get the odd one that bounces about,
Yeah.
but I try to help people, and I was. It's some of the civil enforcement officers, you get 5 minutes grace, but so you've got your phone, their phone, not my phone, but and there's like a scanner on it, and you scan the registration. It tells you you've got the ticket if you paid for the ticket to park, or if it's ran out, whatever. It then starts a countdown timer, 5 minutes. That's your 5 minutes grace. Once the 5 minutes is up, beep beep beep. There's your ticket. Enjoy your day. And the other lads used to go and hide for the 5 minutes, where I used to stand at the car, because if they're in a shop and they look over and I'm standing there, they come running out. Sorry, mate, I was just picking this up from the thingy. No bother, mate, no bother. Get yourself away. Where the rest of them would hide. And half the time, they'd have the ticket printed off in the bag just to run over and go, slap, done. And I wasn't like that.
It's as if they're on commission.
And they're not. They weren't on commission. They used to sit there bragging, how many did you get today, Peter? Go, I'm got a fucking clue. You must know how many tickets you've given out today. Nah. And you had all them not sitting there going, well, I got 14 today, and I got 17. Well, I've beat that with 22, and I'm sitting there going, does it matter?
Hey, each to their own. They've all got to keep themselves happy somehow, haven't they?
Mm.
So, I mean, that leads us on now to what you do at the moment. So you've got a Armed Forces Breakfast Club. Do you want to tell us about that?
I mean, obviously, it's a national organisation founded by Derek Hardman, I think. He's the one who founded the Armed Forces and Veterans Breakfast Club. I had a bit of a falling out with a military group in South Tyneside. I won't mention names or the name of the group. And I decided to go off and set up not my own group per se as the same as them. But even though it's starting to go that way, it's starting to go the way this other group was. But I'm running mine the way I think that one should have been. So it's not me standing there every 2 weeks saying, we are going to do this and we are going to do that and we are going to do this. I'll stand there and I'll say, I've had an idea. I've got funding for a coach. Is fancy going away for a day trip, which we've got coming up on April the 19th. We're going to Camp Eden. And I did. I went away and got the funding, because I went and asked them. I said, do you fancy a day trip? Aye. Camp Eden? Heard it's good down there. Aye, Peter, we'll go to Camp Eden. So I went away and I got the funding from the Jarrow CAF, Community Area Forum. Booked the coach and said, right, let's go there. And we're off on the 19th of April down to Camp Eden.
It's a good gaff, that.
I've never been before, and I'm really looking forward to it.
It's good.
But
I mean, for anyone who's listening and they don't know what the Armed Forces and Veterans Breakfast Clubs are, could you just explain a bit about what they are and what they aim to do?
Catchphrase is return to the tribe. It's basically just a bunch of ex-forces meeting. Whatever day is one, it could be every day of the week if you wanted to. Mine's the second Saturday and the last Saturday of the month. And we'll sit down, we'll have a breakfast, we'll take the piss, help each other out. I'm having a bit of a tough time here. Can anybody help us? That's just my speciality, and we'll help each other out. I mean, one lad, mobility issues. He didn't have a radar key to get in the toilets. I went off and got him one. There's a radar key for you. He was stoked. Next, on the 29th, next one, I've got to take my laptop in because some of the lads want to apply for the Mod 100 and they want to apply for the Veterans PIN and they want to apply for a blue light card. So they don't know how to use laptops and computers and technology. So I'm going to go in with my laptop next week. One of my friends called John, he's going to run the breakfast. He's going to do all the bits and bobs that I would normally do in the breakfast club. So that frees me up to sit there in the corner with the lads who aren't tech savvy, and I'll sit there and I'll go through them. So we're just helping each other. You know, we have got civilians in the group. We agreed as a breakfast club. I asked them, I said, do you want civilians in or do you not want civilians in? It's up to the group. Because like I say, I ain't Adolf Hitler. I ain't going to lay down what I want it to be. It's what we as a group want it to be. And we as a group decided that, yes, we do want civilians in. Civilians have something to offer veterans. It helps you adjust to civilians. Not only that, as you know, civilians need to adjust to us. So I'll let civilians in, but they've got to have a link to the armed forces. There's a lad called Rambo, Wayne Groves. He runs a charity called the Red Bench Project in South Shields. And he does a lot of charity work for veterans. So he comes along. You know, civilians who've got family who are in the forces come along. A local councillor, independent councillor called Joan Hamilton. She helped us put in all the paperwork for the funding for a trip that's coming up. She comes along. And the first thing I always tell these civilians, you're coming into our world. When you step into our breakfast club, it's our world. Prepare for a lot of swearing, a lot of bad jokes, a lot of bad dits. And they sit there and the civilians are sitting there and they're going, what they're talking about?
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a book called Jack Speak. I mean, even my mate called John, who was ex-army, he didn't realise the lingo that we use in the Navy. You know, the Jack Speak. You know, Dobie dust. Do you know what Dobie dust is?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of it crosses over. You know what I mean? Like
So
dust,
that's what I'm saying. So we've decided that we're going to let civilians come into our breakfast group, but they've got to remember that it's an armed forces and veterans breakfast group, and that you are our guests, and we welcome you to it. But you're coming into our world. Come and see what we're like. Come and sit with us, have breakfast, and enjoy yourself. And all the civilians that come to my breakfast club fucking love it.
I mean, the way I understand it, I've never been involved with any of these breakfast clubs, but there were, I remember them starting years ago. I think one of the first ones was in Hull or somewhere like that. I can't remember.
That was the first one. That was Derek's.
Was it? Yeah, right. And it hit all the news and everything like that. And it's a good way to help people transition, like you say, get used to civilians and stuff like that. And as much as we're in their world, we are a different type of people. Just the mindset is different, and that's not for every veteran who's left the military. Not everyone, but a lot do suffer to get used to a different way of life, especially being in for a long time. I mean, the strange thing that I've come across with doing a podcast is that a lot of people don't have issues until many years after they've left the military. For me, it was 5 or 6 years after I've left that I had issues that I didn't even know I had until later on. Because you think you can just return back to normal life, and I found it hard to fit in. Really, really did. But without knowing it, and it caused me issues later on. But I mean, I've been over that many times in this podcast before, so I won't bore people with it again. But the armed forces and veterans breakfast clubs are a place for people to sit, talk, lean on each other, banter.
Just chill out, isn't it? That's all it is. Just a nice little chill out. Like I say, I mean, we've raised over $3,000 for charity in the last year. We only started a year ago in February. We've raised $3,000 for charity. I'm going up to the Longship.
The Longship, bloody hell! You know what? I've never been in there.
That's
I've
where we're
dropped
having
past it
breakfast.
loads of times. Is it right? Okay, I've been past it many times.
We do a lot of work with the Longship because that's where we have it. So we had a big. Do you know what it is? Last year I thought, let's give something back to the community. We're not the fucking Freemasons. There ain't no secret handshake to get into the fucking Armed Forces Breakfast Club. You know what I mean? No, you haven't got to be introduced by your great grandfather or something daft like that and a hereditary hand me down. You know what I mean? We're just fucking guys. We eat a breakfast, we drink beer, we shag women. We're just people. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's not a secret society. And last year, I said, right, let's have a family day barbecue and open it up to the whole community. There was hundreds there.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was unreal. You know, I've got to be careful here because there's a guy called Scott Connell.
Right.
It's not a reenactment group. They go nuts. I think if you call them a reenactment group, they go nuts. Do they like to be called Living History Group? I think Living History.
Yeah, I know what you
Something
mean.
like that. You got to say it right, or they get a little bit schizophrenic on you. You know. So he brought all his Living History Group. I think that's the right term to use. So they had all the guns and that Land Rovers and uniforms, and they had all of that. We had a minion for the kids, and we had face painters for the kids. We had a barbecue going, lots of beer, and a lot of beer going. My mate's got a fake, obviously fake, World War II bomb, and what he does, he shows the kids how they used to disarm them during the war.
That's quite cool, actually.
Yeah, and so it's a fucking big thing, but it's like a airplane bomb, obviously. You know, like one of these big the Luftwaffe would have dropped. So he shows the kids how they would have disarmed them and stuff on his fake little bomb. You know, so I had that there. We had all sorts, and it was a really good family day. And the people got to come along and say, you know, we ain't the Freemasons. We're just ordinary guys, you know, who drink beer, eat burgers, and be merry. And it was a really good day.
I mean, a lot of the Forces Breakfast Clubs and I have links to other organisations as well. Like when you said there about the guy who runs the charities in South Shields and stuff like that. I know there's an organisation in Seaham called the East Durham Veterans Trust. Have you had dealings with them before?
I've been down for a couple and stuff. I live in Jarrow, you know. I mean, it's right down Seaham.
Seaham, yeah.
It's right down Seaham for me. It's not exactly on the doorstep. It's like a 20-minute drive.
I know. I've been down a few times. It's where I have my therapy. The reason I mention them is that there's lots of these organisations that are around helping veterans and stuff like that. They're supported by the breakfast clubs because it gives people an outlet to go there and vent. To their mental health is looked after by going to these organisations, these veterans clubs. A lot of guys who wouldn't have the ability to do them, or if they didn't exist, they'd be suffering a lot more than they are now.
I mean, I've got no direct links to East Durham Veterans or Vixen Sunderland or any other organisation. Hebburn Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club is a standalone organisation in its own little right, part of the umbrella of the Armed Forces Breakfast Club. But if somebody comes to us with mental health issues, with housing issues, financial issues, we can then signpost them to, for your mental health, Walking for the Wounded. There's a place in Wallsend that can help. East Durham Veterans can help. So, as a group, we will go to this. A guy can come up to me and say, I've got a problem, Peter. What's the problem? Right? I'm going to send you here. There's a phone number. Get it sorted. And we as a group will come together and we'll sort this person out.
And it's bad that, in a way, that's not done automatically by like the larger organisations that used to be there and no longer there now. I mean, the NHS is better than it was with Op Courage now in there.
I mean, I've got my own mental health problems, and it got to the point where I ended up using the NHS, what's it called, Op Courage. Never again.
You see, now I have a completely different outlook on them because they work perfectly for me.
Yeah.
They came, talked to me, said, we can't help you, but here. And put me, and it all went through really quickly. From seeing a doctor to getting counselling I was less tn 2.5 months.
11:30 at night, I ended up with the armed police at my front door because of them. Because I told my psychiatrist, the woman that was helping us, that I owned air rifles, and the police turned up at 11:30, armed police at 11:30 at night, to make sure that it was air rifles I had. And it was. I got them all out. I mean, don't get us wrong, you know what I mean? If I was running around the fucking street with these guns, the police would shoot you. They were that realistic. So I had Dirty Harry's Magnum.
Yeah.
And I had the 1860, you know, the cowboy films with the guy underneath. I forgot what it's called.
Winchester.
Winchester 1860. Yeah. I had the Winchester 1860. And I had a sniper rifle, but all 177 air rifles. And I was just talking about it. I said, well, I like to go shooting. I've got a couple of rifles in the house. And I went home, and the next thing, 11:30 at night, bang, bang, bang. I'm standing there, my kegs at the front door for them, please. Where's the guns? I said, in the cupboard. No, I wouldn't use up courage again myself. Like, I'll go to work.
I mean, you know, don't let anybody be put off by that. It's not the organisation itself. It's just that you can use the courage to fast track people from the, you know, ex-military and stuff.
Well, like I mean, that was my one and only encounter with up courage. So I didn't really get to the end of the process with them, because after the armed police rocked up my door, they basically got the middle finger from us, and I ended up going to Walking with Wounded, who got us some counselling and stuff and helped us out.
They're in North Shields.
I do believe it's a national. It's a national organisation, but the office for the North East, I think, is in North Shields, and I couldn't recommend them highly enough. They have a pull-up sandbag.
If anyone wants to know where that is, it's on Borough Road in North Shields. I know that very well because I park opposite every day. So I work opposite it. So when you were going in there, if you look behind you, you'd seen a big old building, an old rectory. I was actually working at one, so I see them nearly I see that building 5 times a week. So
yeah.
I should go over and introduce myself and say, I just want to come on the podcast.
They're nice people. They are really nice people. Yeah. They have a pull-up a sandbag once a month, I think. And it's to just sit there. They buy with pizza and stuff, and there's a cup of tea and stuff, and you have a bit of a laugh, a bit of a quiz. It's just sitting around the table, fucking nattling on.
It'd be nice if they do it at lunchtime. I'll nip over.
I know. Do you know what it is? I've always said, why are we so fucking obsessed with breakfast? Why is everything's fucking, we're doing this at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Why can't we have a fucking evening meal meeting? Afternoon tea, you know, let's get the fucking scones out and the cream and the jam. You know, why is it always got to be bacon, sausage and egg at fucking 8 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I don't mind. I mean, I wouldn't do it at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's probably why I've never been to one.
Mine's 10 o'clock. Mine starts at 10 till 12.
Well, that's not too bad.
Everything you seem to do, like in the veteran community, seems to be shit hot in the morning. You know, let's have an afternoon tea. You know what I mean? I love an afternoon tea. I was down in Durham Cathedral the other day, and I went into the cafe there, and I said, I'll have a cup of coffee, please, and I'll have a cream tea. So I'm sitting in Durham Cathedral eating scones, jam, and cream. Happy days.
So what you got planned for the future then? With the club?
I haven't got anything planned for it. It's not my club.
Well, where can you see it going though? Is it still just going to be?
Just the way I see it is we just keep on doing what we're doing as is. Like I say, the first year I was running it, and then we had my first birthday on end of February, and I turned around. I was honest to everybody. I said, if anybody else wants to step up, take over the running of it, I said, even though I've set it up and started it off, I'll quite happily sit down and let somebody else take over. If nobody wants to take over, I'm still happy to do it. And they were all very happy for me to keep on doing what I was doing. So we'll keep on doing how we're doing it now. We're just trying to build a little community, you know, where we help each other, where we have activities going on, where we're doing. I'm trying to make it just that little. My vision is, it is a complete democracy. You know, I don't have any more say than Joe Bloggs sitting next to us. You know, we're equal in this. So if he's got a point of view, he can put it towards the group. If I've got a point of view, I'll put it into the group. And if at the end of it we need to have a vote on what to do, we will have that vote. We're ex-forces, we're not still in the forces. I ain't a captain, I ain't the admiral of the fleet, I ain't a general or an air marshal. You know, I'm just a guy now, I'm just a bloke. Everybody has an equal say, and we'll have a vote on things if we need to have a vote at the end of the day, if we don't agree on something. And we'll just keep on doing a little bit of charity work, keep on doing a little bit of barbecues, you know, just keep enjoying what we're building, which is a community, a mixed community of both ex-armed forces and an odd sprinkling of civilians who are interested in the armed forces, who've got an active interest.
Yeah.
Who have
How many
agreed to
members
let
have you
in.
got?
Pardon?
How many members have you got?
It's not a membership organisation.
Yeah.
I can
So
give you
as a
an
new
average of how many people turn up to it.
Yeah.
And there's about 30 to 40 people.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
That's a good amount.
30 to 40 people. Yeah. It can go higher than that. When I first started, I mean, everybody rocks up from everywhere when you first set it up. So the first one, there was like 90 odd people there, the first one. It was that crazy. And then it just slowly sort of goes down and down and down until it plateaus. And we seem to have plateaued at about 35, 40, 45, about that.
I mean, that's good. You know, that's you don't want too many, because then you I suppose you'd end up bringing in the people who want to take over, and like you say, it's not about taking over. You're quite willing to do that, but you get the arseholes. Put it that way. You know what I mean? You'll get you get to that level now where you're all right, where the people who are there want to be there. You know, they're enjoying each other's company and stuff like that, and they're enjoying having a chat, turning up, and it gives, and like you said, for yourself, it gives you something to do, and for them people turning up, it gives them. It might be the only time they get out of the house now and again.
Well, I mean, there's one guy, again, I won't mention his name. I hate the word clique, because there's from the previous group that I mentioned before, which I had a falling out with, a group of gentlemen and ladies. We were a group of doers. We wanted to do things. We went shotgun shooting, air rifle shooting. We were doing things which ruffled feathers, and they're accused of being a clique. We're not a fucking clique. Anybody can join in. You know, even though this is the first time I've met you, you could turn around and say, Peter, I wouldn't mind doing this 12-bore shotgun shooting. When is it? First Sunday of the month. Come down. If it was a clique, I'd say, nah, it's full, mate. You know what I mean? But that's how it is. Or the shooting's full. You know, that's what we're trying to do. We just want to do activities. We just want to enjoy ourselves. And that's what it's all about. Having fun.
Right then, it's coming up to the hour. I think we've covered everything we can, really, with that. Again, thank you for coming on. And I know you're itching to get away to have your blackcurrant.
I will be drinking alcohol on Sunday, though. There's a football match on, I've been told.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I rang my mate up this morning. I said, I've got to go to Scumberland. I said, do you want to come with us? He went, aye, get on, pick us up. So I'm sitting out at his, and I ring another friend up, because he wants us to take him down to the Maze Bowl on Saturday. And that was because I was over at the Lowlights on what is it today? Wednesday. Yesterday, I was over at the Lowlights yesterday, and he rang us there. But he left out one important bit of information. What time does he want to pick him up and take him down to the Maze Bowl? So while I was waiting for my mate, I rang him up. He went, Peter, he says, we're at the Stadium of Light, the Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club. Come in for a cuppa. I went, fucking high, go on then. So I went down, and I pulled into the Stadium of Shite, and I'm sitting in the car, and I went, fucking hell, I only had my Newcastle top on, didn't I? I thought this in, I keep my coat on, I was fucking sweating.
I mean, that rivalry's there for a reason.
Do you know what it is? As long as it's just a bit of rivalry and a bit of banter, I'll go to the Gunners with the Vicks pull-up sandbag and the Gunners, and obviously the old Mackhams, you know, I mean, the old Sunderland supporters. And I'll go in every now and again with my Newcastle top on, take my coat off, and I'll sit down, I'll say, well then, let's have it. And I'll just sit there and I'll say nothing, and I'll just let them all rip the piss out of us.
What's that movie? Purely Belter. You remember that?
Is that where they pinch Alan Shearer's Ferrari?
That's right, yeah. And it goes to Stadium of Light with the Newcastle tops on. Yeah, social services giving tickets for a football match and send them to Sunderland. That's a class film, that. Anyway, I'll let you get off. Again, thanks for coming on and sharing your story and all about the Breakfast Club. And I hope it got some strength to strength for you.
Feel free to join me. We're meeting again on the 29th.
Where is it? In days of the week,
sausage.
So you just want to let everybody know when it is you meet and where it's at.
If any of the lads and lasses that are watching this want to come along, feel free. Free tea and coffee. I do ask for a voluntary donation towards the free tea and coffee. It is free, but it's just a voluntary that goes into the running of the club. If we need to do anything, if we need to buy anything, that gets kept behind the bar. I think there's about 170 quid in my little kitty now at the minute. Breakfast, sit down, have a banter. So we'll meet on the second Saturday of the month and the last Saturday of the month, 10 till 12. It's not a bad little, we've got a nice little group. I mean, I went to Amsterdam and one of the lasses came up and said, you've got to get us this cheese. When I was in Amsterdam, I'm fucking walking around looking for cheese for one of the lasses in the Breakfast Club.
And so you did mention where you meet. Just tell us that again.
The Hebburn Longship.
Hebburn Longship.
Usdore Road, I think it's on.
It's just so when I do the show notes as well, I'll put them, the details in there as well.
And I mean, you can always look forward on Facebook and ask to request to join Hebburn Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club on Facebook. I see some of the lads want to come along and see what we're about and what we're getting up to, because we've been going a year now, and I think we've built something. We've built the foundations of something really good, and it's with the help of everybody. Because it's not just me. It's got to be a group effort. We can build it, and we can do more things.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's brilliant what you're doing, and I do know of other ones that have started off like yourselves, really small, and ended up quite big, and doing quite a lot and helping a lot of people, and that's why these things are there. And I take my hats off you to organising this. I hope it does go from strength to strength for you. I'll say good night. So I'll let you get off now.
Mate. I'm going to head to the pub and have a blackcurrant and soda. Right.
Well, all right. Cheers, mate. I'll stop the recording now. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I enjoyed recording it. If you could just hit the like button, and also if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell, that'd be great, because it'll help the channel grow. The more people will see it, the bigger it'll get, and the more guests I can get on, and the more people I can talk to. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, like I said. Look forward to the next one. Hopefully we'll be out next week as normal. Bye-bye now.